Let's take a look at the market for the Ford Mustang GT Premium, specifically 2024 and up. For those that don't know, I'm Craig, and my brother and I built this site because we just got frustrated with how the other sites are set up. When I'm looking at the market for the Mustang GT Premium, I'm looking at availability, market velocity, and budget. Starting off with availability. When we look at this over the past 3 months, what we're going to notice here is that inventory ticked up a little bit, and then in the last week or so, it's dropped back down to, say, 4,900 units. What this tells me is that there's plenty of supply out there. If I want a very specific spec, there's a good chance I'm still going to be able to find it. Next, on the ways of market velocity, let's look at the last 3 months. 3 months ago, a month ago, a week ago, and today. What we're noticing here is that 2025s have been creeping up in their average days on lot. So if I'm in the market for something and I'm ready to buy it, my buying power on 2025s has been increasing over the last 3 months. Next, when we look at budget, 2024 to 2026. So let's say on the lower end of the budget, 2024s, this difference here between 2024 and 2025 is close to about, 10K. But so if we don't want to spend the extra 10K, let's just look at the 2024s and see where our sweet spot is. So I'm going to select 2024, rule out these outliers here in market for both listing price and mileage, and take a look at listings in market. Because there's what's interesting. A clean line at 44K between those around 3,000 miles and 30 plus thousand miles, but it also is very close to some of this new inventory. So what I would do is, because it's so close, call a few dozen dealers with new inventory of the spec you want, see how aggressive they get on price. Next, if we want to step it up a little bit to 2025s, this really interesting zone of opportunity. We've seen over the last 3 months them picking up in their average days for sale. So our buying power is increasing on these units. So let's take a look at these 2025s. I'm going to rule out these outliers in market, both listing price and mileage. We'll take a look at it. And it's a very similar story here with this line at 47K, where there's also new listings that are available. There's 519 new listings at 47K for GT Premium 2025s. So my message is, call around to dozens of dealers, see how aggressive they get on price, and go from there, because it's just not really worth it to go with a used unless you have a very specific spec in mind. Anyway, thanks so much for the comment. I hope this helps.